We're going to get started tonight. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Dave Wegener. I'm a captain with the Ashland Fire Department here, and I've also been helping out with, going to be a lot more involved with your ice fishing team this year. So, and some of you remember I came in and talked a little bit last year up at the school. We went over a couple things. Hoping to get to a couple of the tournaments with you guys this year. So we'll see how that goes. Definitely going to go with you to the state championship. I know that for sure. So that'll be fun. So I'm looking forward to it. I offered to Tom last year after we did the ice safety. You guys came to the ice safety talk that we had here last year, and Tom and I felt that it was a good idea that we include this as one of your practices, if you will, for the ice fishing team. It's good information. It's things that you guys need to know, and it's a good refresher. So what I'm going to go through tonight is an ice safety talk that we give to all kinds of different civic organizations and the public. It's going to give you the basics on how to read different types of ice and how to know when ice is safe and when it's not, and some ideas in the event that you or your buddy falls in. So it's just good refresher stuff to go over. So how many of you are on the high school team? Raise them high. All right, so just about everybody. Okay, excellent. So we'll start off then. Ice strength. Never judge ice strength by appearance alone. Just because it looks good doesn't mean it is. Okay? It's impossible to know the condition and the strength of ice by the appearance alone. You have to drill a hole or you have to chisel a hole. That's the only way you're going to figure out if the ice, what kind of condition the ice is in. Okay? So there's several different kinds of ice. The first one that we're going to talk about is clear ice. Anytime that you see ice strength guidelines, like 4 inches for a person ice fishing, 6 inches for a snowmobile or ATV, that's all based on clear ice. All right? Clear ice is the strongest ice that there is. It's the best ice. That is the ice that you want to be on. Okay? The next type of ice that we have is pack ice. Pack ice can be in several different locations. A lot of times it's found in rivers. A lot of people fish up in Duluth on the St. Louis River. And when that starts breaking up, then we start getting chunks of ice and it starts packing up due to the current. Okay, so we can have pack ice on rivers, streams. It's generally found in areas of water that have some current. Next one is snow/layered ice. And this is what we're going to start seeing now. So we get clear ice, starts to form, and then we get snow on top of it. Now we're getting some warm temps. Supposedly it's supposed to be up to 40 on Saturday. Some of that snow is going to start melting. It's going to melt into the ice and then refreeze at night. If you cut a chunk of that ice out and look at it, you'll see the different layers. And some of it will be clear, and that's that first ice that formed, that good clear hard ice. And then you'll see some that's opaque and kind of cloudy looking. That's going to be the snow layer. Okay. When we get snow/layered ice, we start getting varying strengths of that ice, because now we've introduced a layer into that ice that is no longer clear ice. And so the snow ice has less strength carrying capacity. Okay. Next one is crack ice. Basically all that is it's ice that has cracks in it. We all know when we go out on the lake, you're going to see cracks in the ice. It has to. The ice sheet has to expand and contract, and when it expands and contracts, it cracks. The thing you need to be aware of with crack ice is that we can have wet cracks and dry cracks. Wet cracks are where the crack starts to separate and it allows lake water to come up. When we get the lake water that comes up on top, now it makes a section of open water on top of the ice. that can start to erode where that crack is, and it'll start to weaken that area. So you gotta be a little cautious with that. Generally not a good idea to be crossing wet cracks, okay? You wanna get around those. And then with that crack ice, sometimes you'll see what we call keels, okay? And that's where the ice, when it cracks, it starts going like this. And that also allows water to come up, and you'll have a section of standing water on top of the ice, okay? And then you can also get where the ice peaks up. And we've all seen those out on, especially out on the bay, we'll get big heaves. And those can certainly be a danger to you if you're traveling at night on a snowmobile, or low light conditions, or poor visibility, and you hit one of those. That's not going to be pleasant. Last one is candled ice. Candled ice we see at the end of the season. Candled ice is right before the ice goes out, and what happens is the ice gets a lot of air entrained into it and a lot of water, and you can have 2 feet of candled ice, and that will have the equivalency in strength of about 3 inches of clear ice. So candled ice can be super thick but hold absolutely no weight. I tried to find it, I couldn't find it, but I had a video of somebody out, and they have a snowmobile on as the ice became candled, and they had it out, and they went to take off, and the ice was so candled that the snowmobile just dropped, and I mean, it just dug itself a hole, and the ice was just like chewing up, and it was so candled. So candled ice is really dangerous. You really got to be careful with that. Like I said, you can have 2 feet of candled ice, and it'll have the strength of about 3 inches of clear ice. So candled ice can really get people in trouble. So here's an example of clear ice. This is the ice that you want to be on, okay? Nice, clear, solid ice. This is the best stuff. This is what all the ice strength guidelines is based off. Here's layered ice. This is that snow/layered ice. So if you look, you can see we have a snow layer right here, and then you can see there's a couple different layers. And again, that's all at different times that the ice formed and or thawed and refroze. So that can affect the strength of that ice. Again, here's the crack ice. We all know it's just cracks, and you just got to be careful whether they're open or closed. All right. This is what that candled ice looked like. So you can see it's just, if you took that in your hand and you just squeezed it, it'll just crunch and just break up. It's like a snow cone. That's a great way to explain how it is. It's just like a snow cone. So again, here's the pressure ridges. Open water. Where do we see open water around here? Like out on the bay. Where do we always see open water? Hot pond. Where else? Yeah, you do. Yep, mouth of the Whittlesea. Long and Short Bridge. Where else?
Lighthouse.
Absolutely, good one. A lot of people don't realize that, and I've had some people argue with me and say that doesn't happen, and that both ends of that breakwall, both the lighthouse end and the other end, there is a slight bit of current that goes around the ends of them breakwalls, and that, if we get long periods of extreme cold, it will freeze up and it'll be solid. But as we get warmer temps, it will open back up again, and that can get you in trouble, okay? You gotta be really, really careful with that. There's been situations, we've lost people off the end of that breakwall, okay? So be careful around both ends of that. If you're out on a snowmobile or ATV or a car, you gotta make sure you go way wide. Don't cut right next to the end of the wall. Why do we have to be concerned about the open water? Not just because it's open water, but what else might that do? Any ideas?
Weaken the ice around it.
Yeah, it's gonna weaken the ice around it. And then when we get these windy days like we've been having a lot the last couple of years, heavy northeast winds, heavy southwest winds, we start getting wave action. And when we get that wave action, that starts eroding that ice edge, and it starts making that open water larger. And then it just keeps compiling on top of each other, and the problem just gets bigger and bigger the larger that open water gets. So have to be careful with that. Something else that's bad about open water, it may be open today, and now the temps drop to 10 degrees tonight, it freezes over, and then late tomorrow we get 3 inches of snow. So now you're out traveling on the ice, and you got your big UTV with tracks on it that weighs, 2,000 pounds, whatever, and you're on 8 inches of ice, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're driving across 2 inches because it just froze, and you didn't know that. So that's where we always say you have to check the ice conditions, okay? You can't just assume, because what did we find out right when we started? You can't tell ice by appearance alone, right? So that's why you have to get off and check. This gets people in a lot of trouble. We have open water, it crusts over, and then we get snow, and it all looks the same. This is a big problem. Obstructions. So, what do we have to worry about obstructions? Any ideas why we'd have to worry about that?
It's gonna form a current around there, being
Okay.
thin ice oftentimes as well.
Yep, it'll certainly give it, if the water is moving, as it moves around that object, that will make it more difficult to freeze. Anybody else?
Yeah, when the sun hits it, it warms it up and it erodes the ice around it.
Yeah, absorbs heat from the sun, we absorb heat, and again, it just melts itself around it. Something that concerns us in the fire department is young kids like to climb around on things, right? Like to climb around on docks and piers and stuff like that, and this can be certainly a concern. So, some areas